When Michel Bessou, Einstein's lifelong friend, died, Einstein wrote a letter to Bessou's family. Now, he has departed from this strange world a little ahead of me. That signifies nothing. For those of us who believe in physics, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. In his latest years, Einstein came to the conclusion that time is inexistent, that past, present, and future exist all at the same time. The reason why time travel is so hard to put on film is because of the dilemmas it raises. You can't do a time travel movie without considering the endless time paradoxes. The easiest way to counter it would be ignoring the paradoxes completely and just make a movie that would please the average viewer who's just interested in the plot, which is by far the most used in cinema.
Men in the family can travel in time.
But sometimes it happens that a movie considers time travel as a serious matter and tries to make it follow some sense of logic that entangles some of the numerous time paradoxes. And those are the ones we will be taking a deeper look into. We will be exploring them by type of time travel, which will be divided into two main ones: the realistic time travel, the fictional time travel. First, realistic time travel, or relative time travel, where you apply the current laws of physics to slow time using a very high gravitational field. To put it simply, if you happen to be close enough of a black hole, its gravitational field will be so strong that it slows time enough for you relatively to another part of the universe that you can travel to the future. The best example for this is Interstellar. In the movie they went on a planet that was orbiting around a black hole, which led to slowing time substantially in comparison to Earth, to the point where for every 1 hour spent on that planet, years passed on Earth. The relative time travel is the hardest to pull off in a movie, primarily because you can't cheat. By choosing it, you willingly bound yourself to real-life physics and can't use the fictional aspects that machine time travel allows you. The most prominent problems being: 1. Found a way to travel to the black hole without spending 2 lifetimes to get to it. In Interstellar they traveled through a wormhole that led them directly near the black hole. 2. You can just slow time relatively to another place in the universe and can't travel to the past. Instantaneous time travel. This one is where you just vanish into thin air from your timeline and magically reappear on another, mostly using a time machine. Instant time travel divides into 2 subcategories. You might want to prepare a coffee for yourself before we dive into it. You see, when a writer takes this path, he's faced with a dilemma. He has to choose if free will exists in his story or not. It's the first step towards time travel because it affects it directly. For example, let's assume that he chooses free will exists. Then the character's choices have a direct impact on the future and constantly shapes it, which is how we perceive time as humans. Let's take a look at the history of Trunks' movie to explain it. Quick summary. After Trunks' world has been destroyed by 2 cyborgs, he goes back in time to warn everyone of the coming danger and save the present, which he manages to do. What we assume would happen is that his future would change in accordance with what he changed in the present. Well, this didn't happen in Dragon Ball. If he changed the future, then where does the one he lived in go? You can't just expect it to vanish and be replaced by the one he saved. The simplest way to resolve this problem is to say that when Trunks goes back in time, it creates a parallel universe in which everyone is saved. And voila. Which sounds great, but doesn't look that realistic. Another way you can look at it is by using the multiverse theory, which, if you're not familiar with, just means that there is an infinity of universes, each one independent from the other. It means that when Trunks goes back in time, he lands on one of an infinity of universes, and happened to save one of them. If the writer chooses that free will doesn't exist, and this is in my opinion the most exciting one, we will take a look at a movie that everyone should be familiar with for this one. Harry Potter, The Prisoner of Azkaban. In the movie, Hermione and Harry travel back in time with an amulet given by Dumbledore. When they arrive to the chosen timeline, they start doing things they thought someone else did, like when Hermione throws rocks at the window, which would eventually save the horse bird from being executed, or when she hows at the werewolf to save Harry. But when the paradox is really smartly played out is when Harry is seeing himself being almost killed by the Dementors. He waits for his father to come out and save his past him, because he thought he's the one that saved him, but his father doesn't come and he ends up saving himself, which will make in consequence the past him think that his father saved him and will end up at the same spot at the same moment saving himself, repeating this loop for eternity. This is the predestination theory, where you're stuck in a loop of things always happening the same, and no matter how hard you try, you will always end up doing what you're predestined to and have already done. Let's say we try to break the loop and Harry decides that he won't save himself from the Dementors. The result is that he can't exist anymore since he was killed by the Dementors, so he can't become old enough to travel back in time to save himself since he's already dead. This serves perfectly the belief of Einstein, saying that time is an illusion and past, present and future all exist at the same time, although there's a hole in the story. Dumbledore giving the amulet to Hermione and telling her exactly when she should travel to means that he started the loop in where Harry saves himself, and he changed the future by giving the amulet to Hermione, which shouldn't be possible since he can't change the future.
Mysterious thing, time. Powerful, and when meddled with, dangerous.
Other than that, the movie did a really good job in recreating a time loop paradox. A series that mastered it to an comparable level is Dark, in which the scale of predestination is played to an entire village, where everyone is stuck in time loops always happening. I'm sure I left out a lot of stuff regarding both cinema and time travel. I didn't want to make this video too long, so I purposely condensed it. I hope you enjoyed it.